Pastor Joel and Pastor Jason here, and we want to give you guys some info on some upcoming events. Vespers is going to be happening next weekend on Friday night, starting at what time?
Yeah, 7 o'clock, Friday night, November 4, here in the Perichoresis room at the Kettering Church. From 7 to 9 is we're going to have Vespers. So, come on out. All are invited. Grades 7 through 12.
Yep. So come out for Vespers. It's going to be lots of fun, snacks, and just a good time to have some fellowship together. This last Sabbath, we talked about some very important things here in Sabbath school. We want to give you guys an opportunity to talk with your students, with your kids, about what they're disappointed in church with.
Right, so last Sabbath was October 22, and again, that's deep in our faith community as known as the Great Disappointment. And while that is true, we were a faith community that was excited, totally focused on Jesus, and they were disappointed. Well, if we were really honest with ourselves and with our families and our friends, oftentimes the Seventh Adventist Church kind of continues to disappoint. So we started talking about that last week, and so I would, ask your kid, has the Adventist Church ever disappointed you? Do you ever, can I speak? Have you been disappointed ever, like with what happens at church, what happens at Sabbath school? So that's kind of what we started talking about.
We're going to go ahead and move forward onto next week as well. So maybe you can do some pre-talk coming up to this next Sabbath, or talk about it on Sabbath afternoon or something along those lines. But this next weekend, what are we going to be talking about?
Yeah, so, what we're passionate about here, Joel and myself, is the reality is, and this is sad, and Pastor Carl has been talking about this, but 60 to 70% of Adventist youth will walk away from church. So we're passionate about changing that statistic. And so we kind of did some research looking at faith communities. Are all faith communities losing youth? Are there any that are being successful, and the retention rate is greater? And the reality is, yes, there are two specific faith communities. One where they have a retention rate of 70%, and another one where they have a retention rate of 95%. And so we kind of did some research and realized that there are some themes, some motifs within these faith communities. One, music is a vital part of that faith community. Two, the story, the story of that faith community, their narrative, if you will, is remembering it, understanding it is a vital part. And then three, there's this invitation to be a part of that story, to join that narrative. And so we're going to take a look at that this week in Sabbath school, talking about, what is the story of the Seventh Adventist Church? Does the Seventh Adventist faith community, do you even have a song? Is music important, or is it not? And so at the end of the day, what I want parents to know and to engage in the conversation with your student is, what is the story of the Seventh Adventist Church? And we can come up with all sorts of different things, but at the end of the day, I think we can land that John 19:30, one of my favorite texts, is huge, where Jesus is on the cross and he says, "It is finished." It is finished. So what does that mean? I think that'd be a great discussion. We'll talk about it in Sabbath school here, but when you read those words and when you understand that on the cross Jesus said, "It is finished," what does that actually mean?
So this is going to be our last Sabbath of looking at the My Tribe.
Right.
And in a few weeks, we're going to be jumping into a different topic in November.
Right.
And also, there's going to be a social November Lazer Tag on
November 6th. It's a Sunday. And so don't freak out, because I know it's a school night. We understand that. But we have rented out all of Lazer Quest. I'll text you some more information about this later. But November 6th from 5 to 9:30, we're having a big Lazer Quest social event. Public school, private school, homeschool, all are invited to that. Yeah.
So we hope to see you guys on Sabbath. Thank you so much for coming out to our parent meeting last week.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And being here to support us in this ministry here.
Yeah. One more quick thing, though, before we go, and I know it's already a long video, but tomorrow, especially this Sabbath, October 29th, we're talking about if you could create a church, any church, what would it look like? And I think that would be another good follow-up question to discuss with your kid. Kind of going back to distractions, but okay, so if this is kind of not distractions, but disappointments. If you've kind of been disappointed in church, if you were to totally recreate, redesign, rebuild your own church? What would it look like? What would it sound like? Where would it be? Who would be invited? What would be some of the goals? I think that's another great topic of conversation as we move forward with this whole My Tribe series, and we start to launch into our upcoming series that we'll talk about later.
Thank you so much for watching. Once again, the questions will be down in the description, so you can see those there. Also, if you follow us, you'll be able to make sure that you keep up to date with our content that we're trying to come out with weekly. So thanks again, and we'll see you on Sabbath.
Yeah, awesome. Blessings.